Welcome to Looking Forward, the show where I talk to people who actually run implementation from the first scoping call all the way to go live about where this work is going next. So my guest today is Mohit Goel. Mohit runs global professional services at Deputy, and usually he owns both sides of the line, pre-sales and post-sales. In the last 18 months, his team cut time to value by 30% and moved from almost fully custom SOWs to mostly repeatable packages. Before Deputy, he was at Smartsheet, where his team ran 4,000 projects per year. Mohit, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me, Christoph. It's always a pleasure.
Um, let's jump right in. So before we go anything else, you said publicly that AI tooling across scoping, configuration, deployment took your time to value down to 30%. Take me inside the scoping part. Like what changed with it and how AI helped?
Sure, absolutely. So, scoping at Deputy tended to be very heavy manual lift, right? So, Deputy is a workforce management platform. To put it simply, we are in the business of making sure people get paid correctly and get paid on time, right? What that means is there's a lot of labor laws to contend with. In some cases, the labor laws could be open to like the business's interpretation, right? Now, imagine trying to grab information which could be in people's heads, which could be in outdated documents or could be in these company documents which are hundreds of pages long. So AI has been absolutely like absolute game changer for us. We are able to take all these varied inputs and are able to transform them into config ready rules, right? We still keep a human in the loop, but we take the mechanical work off of the plate. So what used to take days or weeks can now be done in minutes, and you just have something ready to review, ready to configure. That's It's been amazing.
Perfect. So simplifying a bit, maybe you can take all the files uh,
Mhm.
describing all those like rules, regulation, etc., input it into Deputy,
Yep,
and like get in the output an instance that is like pre-configured almost entirely.
almost. Yep, pretty much. You got it.
Okay, that's amazing, super clear. Um, Now I was curious to move about something maybe more trendy in the news, like FDEs. Posties are up like 700% in a year. I actually saw an article saying their numbers is going to do time 40 or 30 in 2 years. Uh, so, real new role, implementation consultant with a better title. And would you hire one in deputy at deputy?
You got to thank Palantir for this one. But yeah, it is the hottest job in the market when you think of implementation. But see, in my mind, I think an FTE role is the holy trifecta of like a consultant first. You got to understand what the customer problem is. Then you got to wear the hat of a product manager, understand how to solve that. And then, third, the most important thing is you got to play the role of an engineer. Not only do you write that production ready code, you also are able to deploy it in production. So it's
Mhm.
not about POCs, it's about production ready code. If any or some of these powers are not with you, then you're right. It's just a glorified implementation consultant with a new branding. We have been considering this role at Deputy, but I want to be cautious of the approach and I want to ensure that there is sufficient ROI both for our customers and for Deputy when we undertake this role.
Mhm.
Right? Just by the nature of the role, it makes more sense for larger enterprise deployments. If you end up doing for SMBs or mid markets, essentially what you're doing is creating custom versions of your product, which will come back and haunt
Yeah.
you like 3 years down the line. Everybody's seen those.
Okay. Do you do you see FDEs as a not a temporary job, but some people that you deploy actually to find those opportunities as commandos, let's say, and then um, unless it's like really one time, and it's more like consulting in a sense, or you can make a product out of it. And this, like, do you see it as a temporary state because of AI is so new and everyone is trying to deploy AI workflows everywhere, or not?
Um, Not necessarily. And I think if you think about it, this role has been, in some shape or form, has been around forever, right? If you think about the big
Mm,
four, the consultants who will go sit at customer side, understand, and are able to tweak the product or the solution to customers' need. The role was always there. I think AI just made it faster, and again got
yeah.
the label of FDE. So I don't think the role's going anywhere. It is a very valuable role in my opinion. Again, and if
Okay.
deployed right, not only can they unlock a lot of value for the customer, but even for the company as well, right? Once your product is in there, it becomes sticky. It's an amazing value add. But again,
Yeah.
you have to be cautious which account you go in for.
Yeah. How, if you need to, if at Deputy you have an enterprise on like customer, they're going to require custom codes.
Mhm.
Who do you put today on that position? Yeah.
Yeah. So deputy, what we do have a PS engineering team
Okay.
recently, and I mean we call them CXEs, right? Customer experience engineers, who perform that role. But as I was saying earlier, we want to be cautious of how much custom we do for everyone. It has to be strategic. It has to be really needed. We just don't want to do custom because somebody wants custom. As always, you want to
Yeah.
be more out of the box, more sustainable. But we do have a CXC team that can perform this role. We also have some strategic partners, implementation partners, who can help fill in that gap.
Okay. Um, and last question around FDEs for you: who should they report to? To PS or to the delivery team, CTO?
Um, that's a good question. In my mind, I think they, considering they sit kind of between the product engineering and PS, I would be partial to having them report up to PS, because they go into front lines more as a consultant first, right? So
Mm,
it makes sense, go in, understand and unlock the value. And so from that sense, I think PS reporting line makes sense.
yeah. Okay. And to transition to next, like everyone talks about outcome now. So can you tell us, Mike, what do you think about it? What is outcome concretely? Who owns it? How do you define it in some cases with the go live if it's not in your control or what? Yeah, tell us how you guys like think about that.
Sure. Yeah. So as a PS practitioner, I think outcomes is always a very interesting topic. In my mind, at least, outcomes is
Mm,
a very measurable business impact for the customer. Right?
mm,
Normally, you can think of it in terms of time, money, people. How do you become more efficient with them, right? And honestly, if you cannot measure that before the implementation starts, you cannot quantify the impact later as well. So at the outset, you have to be clear on what your goals are and what do you mean by outcomes. So what are you going to say? What are you going to make better? Most people, and honestly, I've been guilty of this in the past, have conflated outcomes with deliverables. Right? It's great to have a catalog with defined deliverables or measured out, like very defined
no,
outcomes. But most of the time, if you peel the layer, you will see that people are talking more about milestone or deliverable rather than outcome. Right? And again, remember, PS goes in right after post sale. So your implementation impact in some cases may not be measurable in a meaningful way for months or quarters later, right? So the time savings could be realized 6 months after the implementation. So it's very hard to say that in just one quarter I'll get you this outcome. So in that way, I think the outcome essentially becomes a co-owned journey by PS and CS. We PS will set you up for success, and then customer success sort of becomes responsible for quantification, documentation of those outcomes and convert, like relaying it back to the customer. And then again, helps with the upsell and cross sell as
Yeah.
well.
Could you give us an example, like a concrete one, either in Smartsheet or Deputy, of this process specifically?
Yeah, sure. So very simply, I think kind of keeping the customer name out of this, but we
Yeah.
created a project. We created a project for customer. There's so many examples from Smartsheet and even from Deputy or other companies, but Smartsheet one is very easily um, was very easily quantifiable and in a short term, because look, we created a peer review or 360 review solution for the customer. It was a simple solution and it was easy to quantify because the team started saving time already. They save time in meetings, they save time in back and forth, they save time in uh, the documents which were spread all over. So
Mm,
within about a quarter or so, we could say that with the new process, the team is saving about, I think they were saving about 19 hours in meetings across the team in a week. Okay.
okay.
Quantify that, times whatever the going rate, and there's suddenly like thousands of savings, right? The
Mm,
time that could be deployed elsewhere. So that in those games, in those terms, it's like easy to say, like, look, this is what the business outcome we got you, right?
okay. Super clear. Thank you for that. So your advice for everyone, focus on outcomes and not deliverables.
Absolutely, because look,
Yeah.
that's the reason the customer buys the product. Customer doesn't buy
Yeah.
the product for you know just because your software looks nice.
Yeah. Maybe actually a last question on this topic. Do you have tactical advice for people and manager, like leaders or not, like to always like bring it back to focusing on outcome rather than getting carried away by, the day, the deliverable, the
Yeah, yeah. I think one thing I would say is focus on what the customer is looking for, the actual business need, why they bought your software. What we tend to do sometimes is get distracted by what the customer says they want, not why they want it, right?
Mm,
They want to pay their people on time is an outcome. They want a good looking timesheet is not an outcome, right? That's just a solution to get there. They want a faster timesheet is not a solution, right? And I
yeah,
think it's one of those kind of going to the doctor and saying, I know what I'm suffering with, just prescribe me this medicine, right?
yeah.
Rather than that, you just go and tell that doctor, look, this is what I'm suffering with, and let the experts do the job on what's the best medicine or what's the best cure for you.
Okay, super interesting. So that's a good way, like if you're, let's say, on a call that is kind of like going down the rabbit hole, like discussing
Mhm.
like small details, features, this and that, take a step back and say, hey, like you guys want this, this is the outcome. Uh, you still want this, this is still the objective. Okay, so
Exactly.
we'll get it to you. And yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
there's a very famous management saying. I hope I'll say it correctly. I think it's from Theodore Levitt. It says the customer is looking for a quarter-inch hole, not a quarter-inch drill. Right. So you got to
Mm,
focus on what they are actually looking for, not just what you're selling.
yeah. Okay. Super cool. Well, that's actionable. Thank you. And actually, good transition on the time saving aspect. What you are describing, like if AI halves delivery time, what happens of billable hour?
The I guess the perennial question for a consultant.
Yeah.
I, I think the billable hours evolve towards providing higher value, right? When AI came along 2, 3 years ago, a few years ago, everybody was like, yes, PS is dead. Who needs you? Because my AI can do everything. And now, if you see, all the big companies are actually building their PS practices or implementation practices,
Yeah.
because it's not, going back to the previous question, it's not just sufficient to have that tool, it's about how you use it, right? With vibe coding, you can probably deliver the solution faster, but now how do you talk to the customer? How do you unlock that business value and convince them of what makes sense? So what you will, I think, will start to see is in when you see the project breakdown, you will see more client facing work, more value in advisory work, rather than say back end tasks, documentation, or creating test scripts kind of thing.
Okay, amazing. Um, One last topic, maybe before a lightning round. Let's talk about adoption, which is something you discuss
Sure.
a lot, maybe more than implementation. Um, is professional service more about adoption now than implementation?
In a way, yes, and I think it's just a natural convergence of roles. In the past, we'd always be like, okay, PS only does implementation. They get out. Now we hand it over to CS, and they are responsible for adoption.
Yeah.
And I think that's not the correct way of thinking about the customer experience or the customer journey, because customer journey connects all these pieces, right? If you don't do a
Mm,
good implementation, no matter how great the PS CSAT score is, the CS is not set up for success, right? So it's a shared responsibility. But and I'll take it another step forward. To set up PS for success, I would hold sales and pre-sales accountable, right? If they don't
mm,
do a very good job of selling product or services, you're lost. I mean, you've lost the deal before the kickoff call. So they are,
yeah,
they are on the hook for this. We are on the hook for adoption. And again, if it, another one is like if it's a bad ICP fit, the product is not a good fit for your customers, then no matter how good your sales PSCS teams is, it's a disaster waiting to happen. That's it. Becomes more of a shared responsibility across teams rather than just a PS or a CS responsibility.
okay, yeah, agree with that. And which roles in your organization or in your team right now are growing, and which one is like shrinking?
I think implementation consultant roles are still growing. We still see some growth and need for it.
Okay.
Uh, and I don't know if it's a very common phenomenon, but pre-sales, I won't say it's shrinking, but with the advent of AI, I think pre-sales people are able to manage a bigger book of business and support you know, a larger number of AEs than probably ever before. That's just my general thought, right?
Okay. Why, maybe just digging into that, why do you think that is? Is it because in pre-sales, it's easier thanks to AI to have like relatively basic demo environment, for instance, without much AI help, human help, sorry, or why do you think that is?
I think so. I think that's probably a big factor in it. And customers are becoming more knowledgeable too, right?
Mm,
And if you're, again, if excuse me, if you're selling into your ICP, the setting up that demo, setting up that pre-sales environment has become a little easier. Scoping, or if faster, may not have become easier, but you know, scoping has become faster.
yeah,
And I would expect that to show very quickly on the implementation side as well, where again the mechanical tasks are taken off of your plate. You're not spending hours and hours doing basic configuration. That's where AI helps you, right? So the
yeah,
productivity increases as
yeah. Okay, okay, great. All right, time for the lightning round.
well.
So I'll ask you some a series of short questions, and hopefully you give us your live reaction without thinking too much.
That has
And
got me in trouble in the past, but
some of that yeah. Okay, one tool everyone in professional services use that you would happily delete. Remove.
uh, uh, oh God, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but probably timesheets. It's like the most painful thing, and I can't tell
Timesheets.
you. Yeah, it's
No.
just doing those regular timesheets. There has to be a better way of capturing billable time. You shouldn't be
Mm.
spending time to clock time.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah. uh, okay. The professional services metric that is dead in 3 years.
Oh wow. Okay. Uh, Probably again, kind of teeing off of it, just billable utilization as a measure of productivity. I think it comes down to a lot
Yeah.
more factors than just a hard number.
Okay. More humans or fewer humans in professional services in
Oh,
2030?
oh, good Lord, I'm in PS business. How can I answer that? Um, More humans doing higher value work. Right.
Okay. Yeah. What's the most overrated AI use case in services you've heard?
Mostly,
Beside like replacing everyone, the classic like bullshit, you know? Yeah.
mostly I rate. God, I have to really think about that one. There's been quite a few. Um, I don't know. I think probably more a little bit on the documentation side. I think it's just a very low lift today. This
Hmm.
is where it started, but I think people spend way too much time doing AI documentation through AI, and sometimes you know doing it by yourself might be much easier and faster and better. But I don't know.
No. Okay. Let's see. um, the one tool, feature, or outcome that if someone handed it to you tomorrow, you would buy on the spot.
Oh
Could be
wow.
the
Okay.
timesheet, the timesheet stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't say timesheets now because I already killed that one.
Yeah.
I think probably a very sort of integrated way to predict customer health. It's very isolated. There is like everybody's got their PSAs, they've got their gain site equivalents, or there's it's very distributed across. If somebody can tie it all together and give me that customer signal in the easy to configure, easy to digest, easy to action upon manner, it's an easy sell.
Okay. Well, actually, my next question is related. So good, good catch. Have you heard the term company brain, or like brain in the LLM context? And if not,
No,
what do you think it means?
then yeah, then I will not guess.
Okay. Um, Company brain actually is like, or brain in general, let's say, it's a way to store information that
Hmm.
is like optimized for AI to get call from ChatGPT call,
Got it, got
etc.
it, got it.
So it's like a list of facts about, for instance, a given project or implementation that you
Mhm.
can query very quickly and for not too expensive compared to that.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Makes sense.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Uh, Perfect. Amazing. So actually we do, just like to tell you, we do Project Brain now for implementation. So it's similar to what you were saying. We connect to all the data sources like CRM,
Right.
code, configuration, emails, etc. But it's in the brain, so you can query it super quickly and get
Brilliant.
like risk, next steps, and
Oh,
stuff.
that's yeah. That's amazing.
Uh, cool. But we're at the we're at the end of the list. I think the lightning round went pretty well. A last question, maybe to close it. Like someone listening runs implementation at 200 person, like SaaS companies,
Mhm.
200 to 500, let's say. Let's be. What is the one thing they should do this quarter?
What's the one thing they do this quarter? Um, I guess probably good thing to take stock and see where AI can benefit you, right? Like really make a difference in your end-to-end journey. And I would probably put it in a few different buckets. It's like customer facing stuff. It's lifting or helping your ICs, up their skill set, whether it's soft skills or technical skills. I think those are super critical. Saving time, saving money, and again, as we were talking about, getting the ROI
Mm.
out of them. How do we prepare our consultants for the future? You got to set the foundation now so you can reap the uh, rewards in the next few quarters.
That's a great advice. Uh, Perfect. Anything else you want to add for the end, or
No, I
are you
think
good?
we covered a lot of ground on this one.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground. Uh, but thanks a lot. It was great to see you. It was a pleasure as always. Just like our first talk, which was not recorded, but unfortunately, but
Or maybe fortunately.
yeah, yeah, or maybe fortunately, yeah. But yeah, hope to see you soon on Looking Forward. And yeah,
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you for having me as a guest. Thank you, Christoph. It was a pleasure chatting with you.